Hello, welcome to my channel and welcome to my website. My name is Daryl and this is Programming in Any Language. The website is www.black-duck.com. It's where you'll find all my videos organized in logical order. I need to make a point here. With all these decisions we've been making, we got good at using less than, greater than or equal to, and a number of other logic comparisons. In many languages, this is all you need. In C#, however, how do you compare strings? Well, it turns out you can use all those logic comparisons as long as you convert your strings to ASCII and compare each byte. But that's way too much work. Instead, for strings, we have the string.Compare method that is a part of the C# language. Basically, you compare two strings, 1 and 2. If 1 is less than 2, the comparison evaluates to less than 0. If 1 is greater than 2, the comparison evaluates to a number greater than 0. If 1 is equal to 0, the comparison evaluates to 0. Let me show you this works. We've seen a variety of different ways that we can actually compare integers, doubles, anything that's numerical. When it comes to strings, it's a little different. Well, at least it is in C#. Different languages have different ways of actually doing string comparisons, but in C#, we've got some slight differences. The first thing I want to look at is compare strings. If you're looking at that screen right now, you can use certain relational operators and methods to compare strings. You can certainly copy two names by using what I call the set equal sign, equal, name 1 equals name 2, as you can see on the screen here. We can run this and show you that comparison very quickly. We'd end up with a screen that looks like this, where you can type in two names and do a comparison and tell whether they're different or not, or if they're the same. Actually have that program right here, and I'll run that real quickly. This is the program. I'll blow off the toolbox, and we'll look at the code very quickly. Basically, it's set up to look like this. We under a couple of text boxes are coming in. We'll hit a compare, and it'll send something, a message down to the list box, down to the label down here. We can then clear it and exit it. The code looks like this. Nothing fancy here. We just have a button compare code where we're basically bringing in two variables. We create two variables, string 1 and string 2, and we copy them from the text box into string name 1, string name 2. Then you simply do this comparison right here, where if string name is set equal to string name 2, then we'll simply print out the names are the same. Otherwise, we end up with the names are different. And that's essentially what you can do with the set equal sign. Now, let's blow this away. Okay, you can also compare the string variables with string literals too, as they're showing here. They're showing the not operator right here. If month is not equal to October, we then have a result, if it's true or false or whatever. And another program that might show this is the same programmer, but this time I'm showing that I'm using the not equal to sign. String 1 name is not equal to string 2, and we're going to end up with this thing. Let's look at this thing actually as it actually runs. This is the program. I'll run it very quickly. We can enter Tweety and Daffy and do a comparison, and the names are different. I clear it off, enter Petunia and Petunia with a capital P, do a comparison, and the names are different. Again, Bugs and Bugs, and the names are the same. So looking at our code, once again, we have this same process right in here, where we're basically bringing in the string variables. The only difference, in fact, here is that we have, if string name 1 is not equal to string name 2, we end up with results. I had to reverse the names here. That we're going to be different if it's true, and we're going to be the same if it's false. So it's a reversal here. But otherwise, you're doing the same thing. The big problem is, what about less than, greater than? How do we determine those kinds of things? Because when you think about this, we're comparing ASCII to ASCII. When Daffy comes in, you got a capital D going against another name that begins with a capital T, and that's a different ASCII code. And so the results are the D ASCII code is going to be less than the T ASCII code. So let's take a look at this. What we can use is a string compare method. It's available in C#. And it can compare two strings. For example, we've got string name 1 here is Mary. Obviously, the M in ASCII is the same as the M in Mark in ASCII. So is the A and so is the R. The Y and the K are different. So in ASCII code, the Y would become after the K. So in this case, name 1 would be greater than name 2. You can then do a comparison of this thing. If string.Compare, name 1 comma name 2 is not equal to 0, then you're going to do a certain thing. In other words, they're not equal. Well, is it, or it can be less than 0, or it can be greater than 0. What are those differences? Well, if we take a look, we're going to create a little program that's going to do a name assignment. And basically, it's going to allow us to enter a bunch of names in here, one at a time. And if they're less than L, they're going to be put into this box right here, into this list box right here. If they're greater than L or greater, they're going to go into this list box here. We're going to do that through a string comparison. What does that look like? Well, it looks like this. We're going to have some kind of a name up here. We're going to bring in a text file. The actual name is coming in. And we're going to do this comparison, string comparison, string name 1 comma L. In other words, if string name L is less than 0, it means it is less than L. And we can then put it in the first list box. Otherwise, you put it in the second list box. How do we make this comparison? Well, if you look down here, string 1 and string 2 are compared. And integer values return based on that comparison. And that's what this if statement is looking at. It's looking at an integer. If that integer value right here is less than 0, it's going to do something. If it's greater than 0, it would do something else. In fact, if it's equal, it will do something else. Although we have it set up for just if it's less than, do this, otherwise do this. So we have an otherwise condition here. But we can set up any way we want, less than, equal to, or greater than. And so if it's greater than 0, string 1 is in greater than string 2. If it's 0, string 1 is equal to string 2. So you wouldn't need that equal sign thing we did before. If it's less than 0, string 1 is less than string 2. So we put this thing in the comparison mode to make it work. And this is important because when you start to work with strings later, this is one way you're going to be able to determine if one is less than the other for sorting purposes or whatever else. Let's take a look. We've got this program right here, and what I've done is already created the basic label up here with a name assignment on here and a text box. These have all properties already associated with them. We can look at the properties on each one of these things and find out we've got this list box called, or this label, this text box called txt name. We have an assignment button here called button assign. We have a button exit down here, which we've always had. And we've got two list box, LBX A through K and LBX L through Z. And that's really the extent of it. How are we going to run this thing? Well, we're going to put this thing together and make it work. Let's go to our code. There's nothing in the code right now, so the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and do our exit button. So we double click on the exit button and we do our usual routine, / close form, this dot close. And that takes care of that little piece right there. Now the only other thing we need to do is we need to basically do a button assignment. And we're going to do this button assignment because we're going to bring in a text box. That's going to happen automatic. By the way, I've got my tab set up. This is tab index 4. Do I want that as 4? I want this to be tab 1 because I want to be able to tab down to here then too. And I like to do the assignment then as tab number 2. I'd like to be able to use my tab key to jump right over here and make it all work. And I can make my exit button tab 3. The others I don't care about. I'm just going to bounce around from here to there. So that's all we really need. We're going to go into our sign button right now by double clicking on it to create our code. The first thing I want to do is create let's make this a little bigger here. First thing I want to do is I want to make a string called strname. And this is going to variable to hold entered name. Obviously, I could use the text box itself, but I like to bring things into variables and then work on the variables instead of the text box themselves. We're going to set up strname is then going to be equal to txt name.text. So it's going to read name from text box. Then I'm going to use my if statement. This is where we're going to do that comparison. I'm going to say if string.Compare and I'm going to say str name, comma, L is less than 0. And then I'm going to put my braces in. So what I'm doing here, I know I want to put these the names in here in a first list box, A through K, if the name is less than L. First character is going to be interrogated then. If not, I want to put it in the other list box, the K through Z. So what I'm doing here, basically, I'm going to just basically say LBX A through K dot items dot add str name. And that's all I need to do. This is going to place name in A through K list box. I also want to say I'm going to compare here, right? Compare string entry. I'm going to have an else down here, because if it's not that, then I want to say LBX A, LBX L through Z dot items that add str name. Place name in L-Z list box. And that's it. What I'd also like to do then probably is set up my focus so that txt name dot text is equal to quotes. We're going to clear it out and then set my focus up there so I can do a lot of different names right away. I also want to go up and do a form load, which I already have up here by double clicking on the form load button, or form load on the form itself. We have code up here, which I can easily put the same stuff in right here. I'll grab these and copy them. And that way when I come into the program initially, the name will be cleared. I'll be in focus to the top of the program right away. So let's do a file save on this. And let's see how this works by doing start. And here's our little program. We can start putting in names like Daffy. I'm going to change these tabs real quickly. I got to screw up my tabs. I did screw that up. So let's go ahead and adjust these. Good experiment for this thing. We have 1 here for tab. We have 2 here. We have 3 here. So we don't really want any other ones. These things happen to be assigned tabs right away. And one is tab. Let's see, this one is called tab. Yeah, it's a tab stop index. Let's make it a 5. And this one a 6. There, it was 1, so it's going there, yeah. Now let's run it. And start. Here's our program. I'll put in DAFFY. Hit my tab key, a sign goes in there, and it goes right into the A through K, and I'm sitting up in the entry name right away. So I can easily put in Bugs. And he gets assigned to this thing too. Let's try Petunia. She goes in the L through Z because she begins with a P. Sylvester. He gets assigned there. Yosemite. Goes right in down there. The Tasmanian Devil. He goes over there. And Porky. We got a lot of guys going into the L through Z category. We got one we can put in here. How about Elmer? Get Elmer Fudd put in here, and he's going to join this group. So very easy to do this comparison when you use the compare method that comes with C# and the string values. So if we look at this code once again, it's this piece right in here. We're looking at this comparison, and this comparison is sitting right there. And as long as you understand that if it's less than 0 when you do this compare, in other words, with string.Compare name string 1 and string 2, If that results in less than 0, it's then that string name 1 is less than string name 2. If it comes up greater than 0 in here, and you don't have to see that number, you just know that this comparison is getting that, then it's greater than. You can do something different. If it is 0, if it's equal to 0, you can do that too, and you know it's exactly the same as what you're looking for. So you don't really need the equal, the not equal thing that we saw before. You can use this comparison method to do all of those things for you and actually construct this. And again, you can use these things in sorting strings as well. We'll take a look at that down the road. There are a number of string methods available in C#. We'll be looking at all of them down the road after we explore methods and arrays. But this one we can use now because it is related to decision making. I'll demonstrate all the others later when they become relevant. For now, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to use the website for easy access to all my videos. If you get a chance, please subscribe. That way, you'll be notified when something new is available. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.